The gathering begins on a crisp morning, sunlight filtering through the dew-capped leaves of a forest city. Around a clearing, clusters of people move with a purpose, each carrying an unspoken anticipation, their faces lit with curiosity and hope. Among them, a young woman named Mia stands, her eyes mirroring the flickering promise of the world she's entering. Today marks a new chapter, not just for Mia, but for a different kind of humanity. Born into this intricate web of a reimagined society, every child receives a sovereign trust, a unique birthright, launched with their very first breath. It's a vessel of potential, an allocation of the Earth's remaining abundance held securely by a cutting-edge smart contract. But unlike the past where wealth drew divisive lines, this system is impartial, blind to privilege or poverty, a birth into sovereignty. As a child like Mia grows, the trust begins releasing a nourishment stipend, funds purposefully directed towards organic food and holistic wellness. A safeguard, a mechanism deeply seated into this trust, monitors the vibrations of these choices. Like a sentient pulse, it discerns intent, halting if the funds drift into the hands of greed or predatory ventures. This new world does not permit the super-rich to stronghold the future. The wealth of the world, evenly apportioned at life's dawn, ensures the gates to opportunity swing open equally for every soul. It safeguards against the dark allure of hoarding power. But how did we reach these turning moments? The evolution to this resonance was a demolition of the old, a shattering of dusty paradigms, and a lucrative departure from hierarchy. From an early age, each life becomes a personal life stream, an encrypted diary of decisions, learning, and emotional growth. Nothing is simply granted by chronology. Societal privileges awaken not with age, but with the formation of trust and self-awareness, mentored by artificial intelligence that perceptively mirrors one's emotional poise and problem-solving acumen. At the heart of this advancement is a challenge, pushing individuals like Mia to develop beyond the infant mind. This gestation period seeks watchers, learners of compassion, cultivators of will-up, a responsibility not just to oneself, but to the collective human experience. The scene shifts, and we witness the heartbeat of democracy transformed. No longer painted in the simplistic strokes of red and blue, divisions that once entertained and distracted, the system now embraces a people's resonance. Communities are empowered, equipped with tools to create their own smart contracts for resources like roads, energy, and water. The funds move transparently from the public's ledger directly to the cause, without machinations and greed tarnishing the exchanges. To maintain integrity, the system employs a sophisticated consensus mechanism, 3 of 5 multi-signature governance. This requires the approval of a rotating set of community-appointed custodians, ensuring that no single person wields absolute control. Accountability stands as a luminous guardianship, and as AI watches over, it targets any nefarious scum vibrations surfacing as greed or corruption. As the citizenry navigates this regenerative environment, they recognize a necessity to shed old cloaks, the polluted dynamics of climate scams or manipulative charities that masked ulterior motives. Humanity begins to peer at the earth, not as a resource to be exploited or a problem to be taxed, but as an ancient partner in a cycle of restoration and coexistence. We observe the blue fire, a symbolic conflagration, purifying the landscape by burning away the deadwood of avarice. Those who once roamed with pockets lined by the suffering of others are revealed, their contracts incinerated by truth's cleansing light. Such individuals, unable to evolve, find themselves walking among legends, alive in flesh but absent in spirit. A striking transformation in the world where they have no claim. In the forest city, the energy buzzes like an electric current, and the air is thick with the community's breath at one with the machine. Mia reaches a pivotal moment. Her AI has assessed her self-awareness and business understanding. The lens focuses sharply on the instant her sovereign trust springs into life. Mia now engages directly, crafting a contract with local builders to cultivate a regenerative farm. It's a reality free from the need for governmental nods, a compact born from community will and personal intent. Meanwhile, the malevolent designs of a self-serving developer are thwarted. Attempting to undermine communal assets for personal estate enrichment, he meets the all-seeing Blue Fire AI. His covert decisions exposed, his bribe blocked and broadcast to everyone around, stripping him of influence ensures community prosperity stands shielded from power's decay. The atmosphere hums with resolve. Citizens, no longer real scum, but benefactors of their reunited power, witness from Mia's journey a ledger unshackled from legacy wealth. Their health, profitability, and solidarity illuminate a future painted with the heart's openness, seeing reality not as it was fed to them, but as it stands. They have transitioned from mere perception, passive observers of a world where they were told what was, to feeling the very pulse of truth vibrating through their existence. The nation now pulses with an authenticity nurtured and maintained by hands that once sought to divide, now transformed into curators of unity. The air settles again in the forest, silent yet filled with shared understanding and purpose. As the final words find clarity in the transition, a proposition lingers in the air, asking, who will draft the next community contract? As the sun casts pale shadows across the forest floor, the echoes of this venture ripple through, a promise, not just of change, but of an unyielding bond where every dream aligns with mutual gain. This is not merely an invitation. It's a call for vigilance, for stewardship of this tender dream, and for unyielding trust in what each person can achieve when they act in ways that uplift all, not just a selected few. In this world, there are no winners and losers, only humans realizing dreams through integrity, where imaginings metamorphose into reality, without cost to others, but fueled by collective enlightenment. So as these citizens gather, the narrator's voice dips to a whisper, letting the forest breathe, the possibility lingering like the last note of a song, a community willed into being, a nation of beneficiarists, a collective longing to resonate fully as one. And as the camera fades, a question stealthily seeds its way into the viewer's consciousness. In a world crafted by true equality and expansive opportunity, what part will you play in the creation of a new dawn? The documentary silently unravels further into the heart of this utopian vision, taking us back to the roots of what has been a perennial human struggle, the pursuit of equality. We trace the journey through stories of individuals, communities, and movements across the globe that have, in their own ways, tried to embody and enact the principles presented in this narration. Our focus tightens on a small village in the arid regions of eastern Kenya, where local initiatives have turned communal land into flourishing gardens. Through collaborative farming practices, the community not only sustains itself, but also generates surplus produce, which is sold to support local educational programs. Here, we observe a model of shared ownership in action, where children's laughter mingles with the rustle of vegetable leaves and readers engrossed in new books provided by the cooperatively funded library. This experiment mirrors projects in other parts of the world, such as in the bustling neighborhoods of Medellin, Colombia, where an innovative urban renewal project has redefined public spaces. Bridges and escalators connect once isolate, yet impoverished areas with the thriving center, literally bridging divides that are no longer merely metaphors. Here, access to resources is deliberately designed to empower, to enable residents to actively participate in shaping their communities. In each of these examples, the underlying principle remains the same. The collective is strongest when it moves forward together, lifting those who lag behind. Communities like these underscore a simple truth. Economic disparity need not be an immutable law of nature. It is a condition, variable, and subject to change within human agency. As the documentary delves deeper, it examines the philosophical underpinnings of these grassroots developments. The economists and social theorists featured remind us that the journey toward true equity must tread a fine line. They caution against dismantling existing structures without a clear path forward, yet argue for bold reimagining of how those structures can be reconstructed. One voice among these intellectuals stands out, a woman whose research delves into the economic potential of empathy and altruism. She asserts how reconfiguring markets to reward cooperative behavior over individual gain could unleash untapped wells of creativity and productivity. Examples accrue from historical trade guilds to modern cooperative enterprises, where shared capital helps insulate communities from economic turbulence. Simultaneously, the documentary brings viewers to the digital frontiers of this social experiment. It examines initiatives like blockchain technology, often associated first with cryptocurrency, but increasingly with decentralized systems of trust. We see how these innovations are applied to ensure transparent and equitable distribution of resources, enabling peer-to-peer interactions that bypass traditional hierarchies. It's in this realm of the digital medium that the old questions take on new complexity. Who holds power in a decentralized system? And how do we ensure these platforms remain open and inclusive, rather than becoming digital fiefdoms where new structural inequalities can take root? In a heartening example, we visit a small organization in Estonia. This exceptionally wired nation has embraced digital governance more profoundly than many others, incorporating technology comprehensively into how it administrates and interacts with its citizens. The country serves as a microcosm for the potential of digital systems designed to empower, rather than control, the public. Back in the tangible world, cameras linger on cultural spaces where societies gather to share and honor the past, all while dreaming forward. We witness indigenous communities in Canada who, through art and storytelling, reclaim narratives long suppressed by colonial imposition. These acts of cultural revival are not merely nostalgic, they are acts of defiance, forging roots toward a future that deeply respects ancient wisdom. The documentary is relentless in underlining that creating a world built on equality requires more than a simple realignment of resources. It demands an overhaul of societal values, examining how we define wealth and worth in systems where contribution, rather than competition, is celebrated. As the scenes transition toward the credits, the screen is filled with a montage of hopeful faces from across the globe. Children laughing under open skies, farmers surveying the fruits of their labor, scientists standing alongside chalkboards alive with equations, and artists illuminating blank canvases with the streaks of possibility. Each represents an element in the broader tapestry of humanity's potential. This vision, improbable though it may appear, is not a naivete or blind optimism. It is instead an imperative and an argument against resignation and cynicism. For in every community striving toward these ideals, there lies a template, not just for survival, but for a thriving existence where humanity's essential commonality is illuminated by shared dreams. Finally, as the light fades and the last images leave their imprint upon us, the narrator's voice, steady now, challenges viewers to reflect inward. In a world where you are not just a spectator but an active participant, what seeds will you plant? In this burgeoning garden of possibility, how will you shape tomorrow through today? Thus, we are invited to bear the burden and the privilege of crafting a history in which equity is not merely pursued but achieved. And in this invitation, we recognize our inherent power to redefine, to rebuild, and to resonate fully, gloriously as one.